Good morning. What an interesting start to the morning. I sat down on my computer and I couldn't find anything. All my charts were, price was way off of my charts on everything. Took me a minute just to get everything straightened out. I'll turn off Tick Strike for a second, the news. So we had CPI, we had Red Book, which I don't know if Red Book even moved the needle at all, but that's pretty much all we have on the docket for today. Maybe surprise Fed speaker or something. I don't know. We have a lot to digest at the open with the CPI coming in hot. We also have PPI later this week. We had some pretty decent news today, earnings with, what do we have? Coke and Shopify, Marriott, D-Dog, Datadog, and then Biogen and a bunch of other little ones. And then tonight we got Airbnb, MGM, GoDaddy, and bunch of little ones. So let's see, Red Book was at 7:55 Central. So yesterday what we did, couldn't get the overnight low. Looks so compressed now. All right, so yesterday in the beginning of the session we couldn't get the overnight low. Moved higher, took the overnight high, previous high day, all-time highs, made new all-time highs. And then hit the call wall, our HDF call wall, and just saw some inventory correction. It's old business, but I think there was some new business in here too. And we can see that if we go to our Delta chart, it's a little easier to see. We did have some new business, large lot selling. Not a ton, a couple of thousand lots. Not too big of a deal. So we ended up closing. Ended up closing below into the previous day's range and the Friday's range yesterday, and then rotated around a lot last night. It looked like we wanted to go lower, but it took a while. I had to go higher before we could go lower. And see, we'll break out this profile. So this is Asian session, and then we moved higher and rejected basically where our point of control was at for yesterday, our volume point of control, TPOC. And then move lower ahead of CPI, and then on CPI, the dump began, as we can see here. Just been moving lower since then. It's hard to get this one on the chart too. Fun. There we go. All right, nice tag on the full session VWAP there. A lot of weak structure in here from this move down. So here's our weekly chart. We can see that we're still within the previous week's range. So we haven't one time frame down yet on the weekly. Here's a daily chart moving back down into this 3-day balance right here. Oops, a little too much there. All right, here we go. Let me turn back off the ETH. There we go. So we're moving back down into this 3-day balance here. We can see on this chart here. We have a lot of supportive structure in here in this area. Like a little wider so we can see that better. We have a lot of supportive structure in here. We put in a lot of volume and time in this area. This is our value area low, and the low of this day where we gapped higher. Then this, let's see, this is our previous week low. That's an area I want to pay attention to. So if we open up in this area, we do have this gap above that we never did fill. We have these singles up here that we never did fill. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of strength we have. You know, I was mentioning this to some other people today that you know, we've been moving up for 15 weeks, and a lot of gaps, a lot of singles, a lot of strong moves up. It left a lot of weak structure, but it also left a lot of people that couldn't get long, that didn't have a place to get long. So if you're somebody that's been watching this, wanting to get long, You've been flat 2024. And I'm not talking about us, but I'm talking about people that actually have real money. You know, have millions and billions of dollars to spend. If you were looking for a place to get long, this might be it. On the back of hot CPI, I'm not saying that they will. I don't know that, but all I'm saying is this is an opportunity where prices are cheaper. And if we do start to move up, then maybe that might kind of bring the crowd in, so to speak. So I'm not just looking to the downside today. I'm waiting to see, you know, how the market digests this information. We haven't had very much volume lately, and so I'd like to see a high volume day today and get some kind of idea of what direction the market might continue to move in after today. You know, this CPI may be a surprise to us, but I don't think it's really a surprise to the people that have serious money. You know, just the whole point of the Fed talking down rate cuts and, you know, a lot of hawkish news that's been coming out around commercial real estate and banking. And, you know, I think smarter people are aware of these things and are one step ahead of us. So we'll wait till the session opens. Have some clear areas to watch. Like I said, this gap is a very key area. We have, this is our volume weighted price for the year down here, and our previous monthly high, monthly VWAP in here. So we have some levels around this 49.50, 49.40 area that I expect to see buyers if there are going to be any buyers. I want to see buyers hold this 49.55 area if there are any big buyers in the crowd. If we come in, there's just good continuous selling tempo, then I'm going to look for the market to go lower. So it's just going to be watching the periods and seeing how the trading is related to our references, and how the day develops. You know, what size IB we get. You know, where buyers or sellers stepping in to for continuation and stuff like that. So levels 49.40, 55. This point of control in this balance area, then the gap, and singles. That's basically where all these lines are at on my chart. Is the areas that I'm going to be watching. Overnight inventory is very short. So if we don't start to put volume in here, you know, we only had, volume is still fairly light. So for pre-market, we got 353,000 contracts traded. I believe we're up around 150 before the release. So about 200K after the release, which we can split this out and see. So 220 after the release, at 140 leading up to it. When we see the delta, we're negative 4,000 delta. That's not extreme, even for ETH session. So same with NQ. We're into this 3-day balance area. So this is going to be Bitcoin here. Take a look at the Russell. So gave up everything, right back into balance, right down to our yearly VWAP. They look at gold. And on gold, we were moving below our balance. We have some structure here. Have some structure here on gold. Look at crude. I think crude's moving a little higher. Be really interested if gold cannot hold this gap below balance. That's what I was talking about yesterday. If it can look below and fail on CPI, then I think that's a pretty strong signal. So gold is actually the chart that I want to have up on my other one. All right, we have about 5 minutes before the open. February 13th, 2024. Let's look at these levels too. Let's see. Yes. 2R 0 gamma GWAP gap split. Okay. We'll drop some anchors later on CPI. 3 minutes before the open. All right, we're fixing to open. We have left the open in the dust. We have a lot of MBOs below us. They look a little artificial. Breath is opened at negative 2200. VIX 1445. Yes, 4975. Okay, we're moving back towards the open on NQ, but we're still just kind of in the middle of our opening range on ES. Book is still fairly thin. Delta moving down pretty strongly, despite the move up. Gold extending their losses. We're above the open on NQ and ES now. So we're moving up to our gap. See if we find some initial selling there. Let's see how we handle the open. We're finding buyers. Our bid's a little stronger. Still a thin book, but when I say it's a thin book, there's also some fake looking orders in the book too, so even thinner than this would imply. I have some selling volume on NQ. All right, so it looks like we might want to fill this gap. See what our delta's doing. So this is our monthly VWAP too. We just got back above. Don't have a whole lot of strong buying delta on ES. Always just some big lots coming in selling this. Still really don't have a directional bias. Just not enough information yet. Like somebody just soaking up ES here. You sure it's going to get in trouble if it doesn't start moving lower. About a, what is that, a 12-point range?
Gold falls below $2,000 for the first time since December 30th.
Got a lot of negative delta building up. We can't even get back to the midpoint of this bar. So NQ looks a little stronger than ES at this point. All right, so now we're back towards the mid.
US stock 6% fall, Dow Jones down 1%.
This is just an impulse mid play. I still have the mid of this bar below me. That would be my out.
International Energy Agency says oil markets are well supplied.
Yeah, so looks like we're failing the mid. It took me out on that one. Would expected strong buyers to step in there. If they were going to step in somewhere, I would expect them to step in there. We just had a couple of references below us. And it may still turn up, but
And IEA Bureau says production in the Americas should outpace demand growth globally.
there's still a lot of negative delta, but small lots. Let's see if we can get the overnight low.
International Energy Agency Bureau says the government signed a formal request to join the IEA and the formal process is starting.
So really good volume so far, not even to the 15-minute mark, and we already have 120,000 contracts traded. So trading below the open on ES, but not on NQ. So we have some dispersion there. That's not the one I want to do. Gold moving in its range. Let's see what we got on a few too many VWAPs here. Put some of this nonsense up. Okay, now we have a reference from there. Do we not get that one? There it is. Nothing much to look at on that chart. See what Bitcoin's doing. Crude oil. Is that right on Bitcoin? I think it was. So we're getting close to the top of balance on crude. Okay, there we go. That's Bitcoin. Let's look at crude here. Oh, no, we're not. So a couple bucks away. Nothing to do. Let's see what happens on this next period. Delta's flattening out a little bit here. Holding below mid. Large lots are buying a little bit. We're getting, looking at the tape. There's a lot of large players trading. It's just very even at this point. I see 20 lot and a 50 lot come together right next to a buy order right next to a sell order, 25 and 45. So they're just kind of offsetting each other. We're getting close to a negative gamma environment on a lot of stuff, so maybe we'll get to see volatility come back soon. That would be a nice after effect. Not having an easy time getting the overnight low yet. We're trying. A lot of heavy selling down here. Very heavy selling. There we go. Kind of popped through, but see if we keep getting that selling. They're not letting up very much. Yeah. I'm sure I have my stop a little bit lower on that one. I'm going to try this one more time. It's not letting up. So now just monitoring for continuation. So we have first two positions are off. And I want to see us get above the mid and the open, obviously. So just monitoring this. Should be an area where it might make sense to add. So I have a lot of large lots selling. So say that the sell auction is not over at this point. Getting back below the overnight low. We're coming up on the end of A period. So I'm starting to shift. I've taken 3 longs. 2 of them were pretty much the same trade. Just didn't give the second one enough time to work. But on watching for continuation, we couldn't get back above the mid. We couldn't get back above the open. That's not a very good sign for bulls. So we'll wait for look at the delta's still moving quite a bit lower. But we have a lot of strength in NQ compared to ES. We'll wait for this next period and see what we get. Moving lower on RTY is not a surprise with the strength in NQ. We're trading within value on gold right now. So A period's going to have around 230,000, 240,000 in volume. It's really good. Delta is negative 10K. Point of control of that bar currently around 49.72. Volume point of control. Below our mid. All right, so we have our TPOC now near the lows. See if we can take the low of A period. Well, what's going on here? Or not. Trying to run strip too. Big sellers just hammered into that. Let's see who's going to defend the lows of A. Really should be going long NQ here instead of ES, but I don't like the way this trade is working. I'd like to see one more rotation up to judge and see which side's going to give, because it's very obviously a two-sided auction. But the next rotation down will probably take the lows and might push quite a bit. So despite, I see a lot of buyers stepping in, they're not getting anywhere. So it looks like they want the lows. All right, so there's a rotation up, see what they can do. Not a whole lot. Yeah, just go ahead and pull that trade. I think they want the lows. It's just good selling tempo. So now we've one time frame down on the daily and on the 30 minutes. So I'll look for an opportunity to get short. Gold one time and framing lower. I have around 17 points of range in the IB. Beginning a B period here, so we could extend that. A very healthy volume. So, any period we had 230K. Our volume POC was around 49.72. We had negative 10K delta. The bid's getting a lot thicker now, around 6x5. Fighting this naked POC from that balance. In this balance, we had a 2-day POC here. Breadth is now negative 24.37, so pretty near max negative on breadth. Trading around mid on NQ. See if ES gives us an opportunity here. Very tough day for me today. Once we start moving those shorts out like that, I think I will give it one more opportunity today. And if that doesn't work, then I'm shutting it down for the day. Because I'm not trading very good today. The fight. There's a lot of large sellers here. We're seeing some buyers step in too. Just going to have to wait for more offsides opportunity. I seen all this volume trade again. For watching these days were kind of strange seeing it, honestly. We're moving down the point of control on NQ. Be really nice to lose the open. Extending our lows on gold. Funny as I was short in pre-market too, if I would have just held on to those, which was my attempt with my second short. But we had a big rise up, and if I would have stayed in my first, I would have never gotten taken out. But that was a more volatile move that I wanted to take profit on. The second one was more trying to get position, but I'm not really good with those moves like that because they move so much. Well, I'm not going to get my second. Not going to get my second take profit on this, am I? We'll see. We've got positive delta down here. It's just a really even fight, really even auction. That's just from watching the tape. I have a lot of buyers step in here. I'm not in the best place in the world to be short. My stop's in a pretty good place, but do I want to let my stop ride? We still have sellers stepping in. The book is pretty even. And that being said, the book is pretty even with a lot of fake looking orders in there. So yeah, this is gonna probably start moving up. So even my original stop is not a great place. Notice how too many people getting run off of this. Yep. Yeah, I'm done on this. Make sure everything's flat, and I'm going to take a break and come back and see. You know, it's tough where I was getting in basically kind of laggard trades, and obviously that's what can happen on those. So I'm gonna take a break, wait for the next period, and then come back and see if I have a better opportunity to get short or if we have different information. But it's tough with things going different directions like this. Tough trade for me. So all right, we'll see. I'm gonna cut the stream here. I may cut it on later if it looks like I'm reading the day.